Hi everyone, welcome. My name's Ella, and today I want to share with you a story that still gives me goosebumps when I think about it. It's about family, pride, years of quiet judgment, and the one moment that changed everything without me having to say a single word. Growing up, my family wasn't exactly what you'd call warm and fuzzy. We were an Air Force family structure. Discipline, achievement, those were the things that mattered. My dad served in the Air Force for over 2 decades and was very proud of his service. He always said that the greatest honor in life was serving your country. My older sister, Lyra, seemed born to follow in his footsteps from a young age. She was obsessed with all things military, loved planes, wore camo clothes as a kid, was in ROTC in high school, the whole 9 yards. And of course, when the time came, she enlisted in the Air Force right out of college. You should have seen my dad when she graduated from basic training. He had tears in his eyes. At every family gathering after that, all anyone heard about was our brave Lyra and her many accomplishments. It was Lyra, this Lyra, that my father would beam with pride when talking about me. I chose a different path. I had no interest in military life. I loved languages and computers. I loved puzzles and patterns, and eventually I built a career in something that, on the surface, looked like a desk job with some random government contractor. Of course, I couldn't tell anyone what. I actually did because the work was highly classified, and if you know anything about government clearance, you know that secrecy is drilled into you. I couldn't even hint at it. My official title made it sound boring on purpose, but that didn't stop my family, especially Lyra, from forming their own opinions. At first, it was small things, Lyra making lighthearted jokes at my expense. Oh, Ella, she just sits in an office all day, sipping coffee, typing emails. Harmless enough, I brushed it off. But as the years went on, the comments grew sharper, more public.com Lyra, with her uniform and medals, loved playing the role of the tough, accomplished sister. She'd roll her eyes and say things like, Ella wouldn't last 5 minutes in the field. Some people just aren't cut out for service, you know? Or my personal favorite, I guess someone has to push paper while the rest of us do the real work. And the worst part, my dad would laugh along with her. Every family dinner, every holiday, it was the same story. I always felt like the odd one out. The invisible sibling, it stung. Not because I was jealous, I loved my job, but because no one even tried to understand that what I did mattered too. And the fact that I couldn't defend myself, that I wasn't allowed to say anything, made it even harder. But I stayed quiet. I kept doing my work, knowing deep down that one day, maybe things would change. That day finally came at our cousin Emma's wedding. It was going to be a huge event, big venue. Hundreds of guests, lots of military folks there too. Lyra was attending in uniform, of course, proud as ever. I wore a simple navy blue dress, nothing flashy. From the moment I arrived, I could already sense how the night would go. My dad was introducing Lyra to distant relatives like she was a celebrity. That's my daughter, Captain Lyra, he'd say proudly. Meanwhile, when I greeted people, it was more like, oh, and this is Ella. She works in computers or something. Same old story. I smiled politely. I'd been here before. As the evening went on, I was chatting quietly with a few cousins near the bar when I heard Lyra's voice cut across the room. Loud, clear, and once again, about me. Honestly, she was saying, laughing, I think Ella would break a sweat just trying to get through basic training. Can you imagine her running drills? I mean, let's face it, some people are just meant for desk work. A few people chuckled awkwardly. I could feel eyes on me. My cheeks burned. I smiled faintly and pretended not to notice. But inside, it stung. Not because I cared about proving myself to Lyra, but because after all these years, she still saw me as nothing more than the family disappointment. And then something incredible happened. Not long after, while mingling near the dance floor, I noticed a tall man in uniform scanning the room. I recognized him immediately, Colonel Maddox, Lyra's commanding officer. I'd seen his name on various documents before. Our eyes met. To my surprise, he began walking straight toward me. I froze. What was happening? When he reached me, he didn't shake my hand or offer a casual hello. No, right there, in front of everyone. He stopped, stood tall, and gave me a full, formal salute. "Ma'am," he said, voice calm but commanding. "It's an honor to see you again." The room went silent. Conversation stopped. Heads turned. My dad, standing nearby, looked stunned. Lyra, halfway through his story, literally stopped mid-sentence. Her eyes widened in disbelief. I returned the salute quietly. "Likewise, Colonel." "Thank you," he added. "Your work has made an enormous impact on our operations. We're all grateful for what you do behind the scenes or not." And with that, he moved on, leaving behind a stunned crowd. I could practically feel the air shift in the room. My dad was speechless. Lyra looked like she'd been slapped. For the first time in years, there was no smugness on her face, just confusion. And something else. Maybe a little shame. Later that night, after the initial shock wore off, my dad came over to me. I'll never forget what he said. I had no idea, Ella. You've made us proud, really. That might not sound like much to most people, but coming from my father, it meant everything. And Lyra, she didn't mock me again after that. In fact, a few weeks later, she sent me a message, a long, genuine apology. She admitted she'd always assumed I wasn't doing anything important, and that she'd been wrong. Since then, the dynamic in our family has completely changed. There's a new level of respect, not just for me, but for the idea that not all contributions look the same. That sometimes the work you never see matters just as much, if not more, than what's on display. And the best part, I didn't have to fight, argue, or stoop to anyone's level. I let my work and my integrity speak for me. So if you've ever felt underestimated, if you've ever been mocked for taking a quieter path, remember this. You don't always need to shout. Sometimes the truth will reveal itself, and when it does, it speaks louder than any words ever could.